Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, AP. Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled unanimously Friday, Democrats and Republicans, on a key concern surrounding an avalanche of mail-in ballots in the presidential battleground state, prohibiting counties from rejecting ballots because the voter's signature on it may not resemble their signature on the registration form. That's the law. The verdict was a victory for the state's top election official, and she's a Democrat, Kathy Boockvar, who asked the court to back her up in a legal dispute with President Trump's campaign and Republican lawmakers. County boards of elections are prohibited from rejecting absentee or mail-in ballots based on signature comparison conducted by county election officials or employees, or as the result of third-party challenges based on signature analysis and comparisons, wrote the justices. Now, a couple of things. Something like this is going on in Clark County, that's Las Vegas, in Nevada. Adam Laxalt has tipped me off to this. That they have a machine there that basically is set at a level of 40% accuracy. So if a signature comes through and it's said to be 40% likely to be the signature of the person who voted, it goes through. If it's less than that, it goes to two individuals who are sitting in the next room. Those two individuals sitting in the next room then look at the signature, and they get to decide if the signature is close. And if they determine it's not, it goes to yet another individual in another room. And they get to decide in the end whether or not the signature is close. So in other words, so far, he tells me, 1% of the signatures have been rejected. So they're all greasing the skids for mail-in voting. They're greasing the skids for real and potential fraud. Now let me turn back to Pennsylvania. It's a big damn state. Getting smaller by the year because people are leaving as a result of the politicians. But nonetheless, the Republican legislature, if we have a problem on election night, a problem likely in many states, the biggest problem is likely to be in Pennsylvania as a result of what the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania is doing. The Supreme Court of Pennsylvania has extended the the counting period for 2 weeks. The Supreme Court of Pennsylvania has determined that if the postmark is illegible or it's non-existent, that the ballot will count. The Supreme Court of Pennsylvania has decided if the signature on the ballot doesn't match the signature on the registration form, it still counts. So this is all being done to accommodate the early mail-in voting pushed by the Democrat Party, and they are relying on these courts. They're relying on these courts. So I told the leadership, I hope Media Matters gets this right. I told the leadership there, you need to challenge these things. I don't mean in court. You are the final court. There is no judicial review. You need to assert, both houses of the legislature, that these decisions by the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania violate Article 2 of the federal Constitution. They violate the history behind Article 2, that in fact the framers of the Constitution, the ratifiers in the state of Pennsylvania would never have adopted a constitution like this that conferred such power on a court, an elected court, a Politburo. It was met with, not exactly enthusiasm. That legislature, like other Republican legislatures, need to stand up and do their jobs. Every one of these members of the Republican, every one of these Republican members of the State Assembly in Pennsylvania not only have sworn an oath to the state constitution, but the federal constitution. And under the federal constitution, passivity is not acceptable. They must assert their authority. Otherwise, just think of it. Otherwise, why would Article 2 leave it to the state legislatures to pick the electors? These courts are reading that language right out of Article 2 of the federal Constitution. A state Supreme Court, of all courts, doesn't have the authority to amend the federal Constitution, and it is the obligation of the state legislature to stand up and fight this. So where is it? Well, you know, we went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, and John Roberts screwed us. It doesn't matter. You have the final say, not John Roberts.